Hello, Proxy Table Gaming, PTG. I'm Hyper G, shocked and horrified, Lucky Sixes.
You're here,
Yes, and they are here as well, because
and
they are
and you're here.
expecting. Yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. I mean, neither of us can see them, but they're
No,
here. They're always here in our
all
hearts.
all three of them are here. Hello, hello,
Yeah,
people,
and Tommy.
and Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're mid Welsh tournament now, aren't we? Really?
We
Um,
certainly are.
at a proper halfway point actually, because we had your Ogrebal, didn't we, in round three,
Yeah.
with Ed, where he just didn't have much in his army list, so
Mm,
that went well. And
good.
now we're into my round three, but we're
Well,
doing it a bit differently, aren't
we are. Yes,
we?
as the thumbnail suggests, this is a double header
It
against
is.
the one. Obviously, we're in 3.0, as we all know.
Yes, there is that. Yeah,
There's actually
yeah.
been a hot fix last week
Since
as well.
since
So
yeah,
this is
and yeah,
This is
I
two hot
know.
fixes ago, technically. Um,
Yeah, technically,
but as the thumbnail suggests, we are against Tanka, a double header against the man
we are.
himself and his
Yeah.
warriors. Basically, you played him for round three, and I played him
Yes.
for round four,
Yeah.
and
So
that's
some mathematical people might be able to work out what happens in these battles to
yeah,
work out that,
maybe.
but let's not go there. We'll
But yeah,
just,
we
yeah,
won't try. But
no.
game one, how
Game one,
dramatic!
me. Oh, wow. I
It's
love that.
very,
That's a
it's
great
very,
screen.
very noir, isn't it? Film
Yeah,
noir.
I like it.
Anyway, back to us. Warriors versus your
Me.
Saurians, obviously
Tis,
taking
tis I.
on the
Yeah,
first one. And here's your list.
yeah. Yeah, from having not played Tanka at all in like 7 years, I've now played him twice in 6 months. There or thereabouts.
Nice.
It's great. Yeah, this time intentionally. Last time he had to fill in for somebody who dropped out of the tournament, and yeah, this time intentionally. So all good.
Mm.
Yeah, double cowboy. There's the Tiger veterans. Yeah, they're doing all right. I mean, they stayed in their unit against Tony, and they did all right there.
Mm.
So we'll see what I do this time, eh? Because they didn't do very well when they were not in their unit, or one of them at least. Skink veterans, who in this battle I go back to playing them wrong. Well, or I stay with playing them wrong, but it's okay this time round. So I'm not really having to apologize. So that's
Okay.
good. Um, two Box Tiger Warriors with spears, one Skink Hunters, block of Raptor Riders, two lots of Mystics, who both sport Molten Copper, which I'm hoping will be useful in this battle, as you will see. Thyroscus herd in with one of the warriors, Rampant Riders, and a Carnosaur in with the Raptor Riders as well. That's my
Yeah.
list.
Nice.
And
And the
this is
list,
quite familiar for Tanka.
yes, it is. So one of the things he wanted was units close to 600, which of course he got
Yes.
two in the
Mm.
10 chosen, which I'm very, very happy to
Well,
see.
I mean, even his 555 are closer than my closest to
Mm.
600. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. But
yeah,
yeah, he has no magic, one Barb
no,
Chief who's fairly cost
mm,
effective for what he does.
yeah,
18 Z-locked Great Weapons Warriors,
slot.
two lots of
Mm.
Chosen, three lots of Warrior Knights. Job done. Don't worry
Simple.
about it. Spam,
I
spam,
know, no
spam.
stressing.
Spam the good
Yeah,
things. Don't worry about it. It's
yeah.
basically that's
Well,
his
that's
thing.
kind of what Tanker does, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's no surprising there, really. Yeah, we
Um,
played Spearhead, which is split the board into three. You roll off, and just one of, and each of you gets a section where your units get Vanguard, basically. Um, I it's only a 3-inch Vanguard. I didn't find it that impactful, really.
no, no.
Um, and it was breakthrough, the overall primary objective, which for my Saurian list, it's not an ideal one, but I was kind of finding that I kind of find out that my secondary objectives, one of them is a kind of a breakthrough-ish thing,
Sure.
or a defend against breakthrough rather, is
Mm,
one of my secondaries. And that one is quite tough for me anyway. I'm very finding it very difficult to stop my opponents being where they want to be. So
Yeah.
breakthrough,
Okay.
I think, is going to be quite tricky. Um, Tanker, meanwhile, warriors, they like to just run at you and bash through you. So already I was even if this wasn't against Tanka, one of the best players in England, I was already feeling that this one was going to be a tricky one.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole 3-inch Vanguard doesn't really change a lot in this one. I got Tanka chose the center. I think he won the roll off for that, or in whatever form it happened. And I chose the west flank, which you'll see in the pictures
Mm.
shortly. As for secondary objectives, Tanker got the double whammy because he got commit to battle, which means he had to get into my deployment zone, which is actually what breakthrough is anyway. So
Yeah.
he was kind of like going for 4 points on those by doing exactly the same thing. And like I say, my one is to kind of keep more scoring
Stop
in
them
my deployment
from doing.
zone,
Yeah.
which goes against breakthrough, where I'm trying to get in his deployment zone, and I've only got 3 scoring anyway.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh man, this couldn't have worked out worse. And I'm playing Tanker.
And Tanka.
Um, yeah, so there you go. But anyway, we'll see how we go. So I've got Tanker Warriors on the left flank, Mystics with Whispers of the Veil and Molten Copper. That's handy. I put the cards right there.
Mm.
It's another Tegu warrior block with the Thyroscutus, then the Raptor Riders with the Cowboys in them, plus the Carnosaur. Skink Hunters, Rampedons just behind, and then Tegu Mystics guarding that whole flank
They've got
against
this.
Tanker's army.
They've got
You can
this.
see, really, I mean, Tanker went from centre out that way. I went from left inwards, but even going left inwards, um, I was still kind of like heavily on my left flank. I
Mm.
deployed first to try and get the roll off, and Tanker went the complete opposite side, which I was quite surprised because I actually thought that he would be feeling confident about just bashing through my army. So I
Mm.
kind of took this as a bit of a compliment that he didn't fancy just meeting it head on and fighting
Sure.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think that Tanker had had a rough experience against spears in his previous battle. And I have got
Against
to
Paul, I
Paul.
think it was round
Yeah, I
two.
think it was. Yeah, where Paul just lethal striked it up and destroyed loads of warrior knights, which is
Yeah.
obviously amazing if you can do that. So I think he was feeling a little bit bruised. So I don't think I should really take it as a compliment. I think it was just Tanker reining
You can.
himself in from that
Probably more of a
experience.
compliment to Paul.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So Tanker just didn't deploy opposite my spears.
Yeah. Sure.
But
It's the
my
safe
spears have
play,
now
isn't
got a
it?
long way to go. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is a
Sure.
safe play. And also bearing in mind he just needs to break through, probably just run down that flank, get in my deployment zone, and I'm going to struggle to get him out of there.
Yeah.
So I don't think my deployment was great with that in mind. But when you're dropping to try and get position, etc., you do give up those matchups or
Mm.
whatnot.
Mm.
So there is that. Yeah. So hold fire there because you've just put a nice little skull on that. What was it called? Arcane Ruins.
It was.
So interesting, right? I mean, I'll just run through Tanker's deployment first of all. We got the warriors, the sloth warriors with dogs behind and dogs to their right. But then you got the chosen. Oh no, sorry, the chosen are in front of the dogs, but
Mm.
sandwiched by dogs.
On this
Then
side,
you've got
yeah.
the sloth warriors. Then you've got another unit chosen and the other 3 other warrior knights. Simple, right? Yeah, but Tanker and I had a bit of a laugh about the Arcane Ruins because he was like, I don't really know if I want to go through that or whatnot. And I said, because I was obviously playing it wrong at this point, well, actually, my skink chief is scouting, and he's going to go and find out what's in the ruins before you get a chance. Didn't work out well for him.
No. No.
Because we played it kind of a bit wrong in that I scouted inside it and immediately found out what it was, and we found out that it killed him because I rolled the Saurian one, funnily enough, which I think is number 1 on the
Mm.
chart. There's like a Saurian related
Okay.
topic for it, and it killed the skink. Then we
Yeah.
realized that actually you only find out what the Arcane Ruins does at the end of the movement phase, so not during scouting.
Sure.
And technically, I could have moved out of it after finding out what it was.
Would
The
you have
damage
moved
would have
out?
happened at the end of them. Well, we D2'd it. We rolled
Okay.
up because we were laughing about it so much that this skink had found a Saurian Arcane Ruins and died.
And died because of it.
And not that I knew I was playing it wrong, and he shouldn't have been out there anyway. But we D2'd it because it was funny, and he died,
Yeah.
and we stuck with it. So I lost the skink chief, but hey, shouldn't have been playing like that anyway. So
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
another breath weapon thing. Yep, all good. We move on into the battle without skink chief. Yeah, I move up pretty aggressively, or at least try to. This is a couple of movement phases in because Tanka's had a movement phase as well. So I think
Yeah.
I do go
This is
first. I
your
use the
this is your
vanguard
two.
on the left
Yeah.
flank. Yeah, my two. Yeah, Tanka moves up. We're sort of doing the whole, flanking maneuver thing. But I do move up quite aggressively. You'll see as well that Tanka is a unit of warhounds down. I managed to molten copper a unit of warhounds.
Yeah.
Now, you might think, why is he molten coppering warhounds when you've got a big load of warrior knights? The answer is that Tanka was dispelling the molten copper from the mystics on my right, and the mystics on my left could only reach the chosen or the
Yeah.
warhounds. Now, I could try and do some chosen, but there's 20 HP in that unit, and a one molten copper is not going to dent them that much.
No.
Arguably, you should start denting them as early as possible. But I saw an opportunity where his warhounds were out of range of his general, his barb chief, and so they would be testing panic on their own leadership
Yeah.
discipline. And it paid off. I killed two dogs, caused the panic. They ran off. Points to me.
Nice.
That's
And
almost got back the chief.
at this
Yeah.
point, molten copper's just as good against dogs as it is other things, really.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't get the reroll to the metal armor, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I got a few points there. And yeah, you can see I'm moving up fairly aggressively. I'm using that Raptor Rider unit as a big anchor for everything else to get up. I'm not really thinking of keeping my own units scoring in my deployment zone. I'm going for the breakthrough idea.
Yeah.
But that chosen, man, it's a real tough one to get through, So yeah. Yeah, movement continues, and we sort of like even out the lines a bit. We're playing diagonally now, fuse flank going on, but not a lot has happened still at this point. So yeah,
He's laughing
you can
away,
see,
his tanker.
yeah, my Ramphanons have moved all the way down the flank to try and get a better position, but really, they're not going to take on Chosen, not to the face
No.
anyway. So yeah, and we keep going. This is like moving on. They're already in like turn 3 at this point.
Yeah.
Tanker declared the charge. This is after his failed charge move, because he failed the charge. Naturally, as you do when you fail a charge. It was kind of like an 11 needed on dice, I think it was. So not, I don't mean 11, do I? I mean like 5.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean?
So right there.
So exactly. That's why it kind of was an 11 in my head or whatnot. I did fail it. I had foresight up on my mystics, which meant that I had an extra offensive skill. So in theory, like if I could hold this, like not die too many to the warriors, then I might have had a chance of doing something back because I would have been hitting really well. And I also had Fortitude 5 up.
It's the armor, though, isn't it?
It's the armor, and it's also the fact that they
armor
attack
is
first,
crazy.
and they got so many attacks and everything. I don't think it would have gone well if he'd made this charge. But obviously, without lances, I decide in my following turn to go on the counter charge and charge with the mystics. It is the armor that's the problem. So we'll see if I can get through that armor because the mystics are only AP1 as well.
Yeah,
so 1 up to 2 up. It's going to be tough. I'm really hoping my fortitude gets there, and the fact that they haven't got lances anymore is the idea. Tanka does dispel foresight, unfortunately, this time because he just sucks up a molten copper on one flank. I don't think it does a lot, and he dispels foresight so that I'm not hitting on 2s. Because obviously, if you're trying to get through armor, the best thing to do is to hit and wound with as many as you can. Unfortunately, I do get a fair few hits off. I only kill 1 warrior knight. He just doesn't roll any 1s on his armor. I get loads of wounds through, loads. Like I cannot complain about the dice and getting the hits and the wounds off because I was hitting on 3s, so still good. With 20 attacks, my unit was putting out. It wasn't hitting on 2s because I didn't have foresight, but still, I got well. No, I wouldn't say well above average, but I got at least average. Let's put it that way. But Tanka just rolled only 1. And he comes back, and even without the lances, warrior knights aren't to be sniffed at. They kill 4. and I run away. So that was a bit of a duff rather. He doesn't catch me, doesn't run me down, which is good. And so in his following turn, he charges the Mystics. Now, at that point, I had the option of fleeing, because you can choose. So they're not actually, they do have a choice of whether to hold or flee when they're fled combat. And if I had chosen to flee off the board with my Mystics, then his Warrior Knights could have redirected into my Hunters, who were just hiding behind the building. He could just about see them, I think. So I chose to hold, and that meant that the Warrior Knights had to spend an extra turn getting around the building, basically. But elsewise, Tanka just moves another unit of Warrior Knights because he's got them to spare up behind. And meanwhile,
those
the
warriors,
the sloth warriors, are just like, do, 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 do. We're just going into your deployment zone. No, no resistance, no nothing. And yeah, I'm just seeing 3 scoring units in my deployment zone already. I still haven't got my spears into his deployment zone. And yeah, it's going to take a while. So there you go. He resets his units, decides not to go around the building to get the hunters, and that's it.
Yeah, a nice, easy, quick one.
That's it. It goes into my turn 4 or maybe 5, I think, at this point, because things have moved really, really quickly to get to this stage. And we've got like an hour and a half left on the clock because this has not taken long.
Yeah.
And I do a whole load of movements with my Raptor Riders, one of which is like moving 14 inches forward and standing right in the middle and saying, charge me. And like being balls to the wall and thinking, is there any way I can make sure that most of these are in my front? And then getting some spells off, like Chorus of the Damned to get distracting off, Foresight to get extra hitting power, etc. And every time I was moving my units, you can see the Tego Warriors have gone up into his deployment zone to get 1 scoring up there. But realistically, I can't get the second one up there because the Chosen are guarding his own deployment zone while he's got 3 ready on my breakthrough. And no matter what I did with my Raptor Riders and the Carnosaur, I just couldn't get in a position that I liked. Whether it was really aggressive and running straight forward, or whether it was holding back and waiting another turn.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get there. Couldn't get there. And so eventually I just said to Tanka, you know what? I can't find a position I like. The only thing I could do is move into the middle, get charged by everything you've got, and probably lose even bigger than what we're currently looking at. And so I just said, I'm done. I'm going to stick with what I've got.
Call it there.
And Tanka said, fair enough. I'm not going to advance any further because I'm in a good position here. And if he was to advance, I would countercharge and get points off of him. He was sitting prettier on the objectives. He was happy. We called it there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it did end up 15-5, but a lot of that was to the objective, which I think was strongly in his favour anyway, even if he isn't Tanka. And he played it perfectly to get those 4 points objectives. I could have played it a bit differently, and maybe got 2 scoring units in his deployment zone.
It's tough because he's got so many scoring.
So many scoring. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I took 5 in this one. Really, I think Tanka probably could have pushed for more, or I could have been lured into losing all 5 of my points if I'd have gone out into the middle. So I took 5 against a very good player who played it very well, and I was content as much as it is still a 5.
Yeah.
And there you go. That's me, which set up Tanka nicely for round 4 against you.
It did.
And I probably talked for way too long on that, but yeah,
it's all right.
Considering not a lot happened.
No, it's okay. And for other people, was it a bad matchup? Was it? Because it seemed like a bit of an uphill struggle from the start.
I probably should have used my spears a bit better. If I'd have used spears a bit better, then maybe I could have exploited that Tanka was a little bit afraid of them. Or concerned about them. Maybe afraid's too strong, but still.
Well, let us know your thoughts on that. But hold up there.
Game 2.
Game 2 is on with the Highborns. So how can the Highborns do anything? Of course, I don't necessarily have much in the way of spears. I do have a little bit.
Queen spears.
Queen spears, yes. And as you can see, the Queen's Guard are there. They do have spears innately. I've got the Sea Guard as well, so a few little spearage going on. But it's triple dragon with 2 initiates and an ancient. and the rest really
House of the Dragon.
is the rest. We know his list. We've just seen it, so it's there for
Mm.
anybody who wants to pause and look. But otherwise, we're going to skip straight through it.
Yeah. Ah. So I
And
was about to say that's the wrong deployment, but it's not. It's round
it's
4
not
now.
the wrong deployment. This is a new thing, so maybe
Yeah.
that will help me. But it was quite a fairly easy one in terms of how it was going to deployment wise. It's just the regular sort of central line sort of thing.
Mm. You're going
The
for terrain.
thing with this is that we're going for terrain, and
Yeah.
so we'll look at the thing and see what we're doing.
You got to plunder it in rounds 3 to 6.
In terms of secondaries, I got demonstrate superiority, which is probably the worst of my 3, but only because it's not too bad, but only because the others are so good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the most expensive scoring unit, and he got the same one. So we're both going for each other's most expensive scoring unit.
Whereas his is bang on 600. What was yours?
There's 2, so he has to choose in before deployment which one as well.
Oh, I think you choose actually. You choose which one you're going for.
It's either. And this is deployment, thusly, and it's the chosen on the hill, the other side of the hill is what he's going for.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I think I've got a feeling we actually forget completely about the secondary. Because I can't remember it being a thing. Although mine was the ruins down here, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what. I think we might have forgotten, if I'm honest, by the end of it, because it was quite a detailed tactical battle. So maybe we'll have a look at the end and see if that matters.
Yeah. It might have just happened like in turn 2, and then you forgot about it. Or
yeah,
turn 3,
true.
I guess. But yeah.
But my most expensive unit, of course, is the Silver Helms, or the Lancers in the middle, and deployment is thusly. We've got Ancient Dragon, Reavers that are vanguarded behind the hill, Lancers, Sea Guard, Grey Watchers, the Buff Dragon, the Queen's Guard, the Pew Pew Dragon, and then you can just about make him out as the Lion Chariot, of course. And I'll move us just so that people can see it. I obviously got excited and nearly forgot to take a deployment picture because this is during Tanka's turn 1.
He's already done the opposite to what he's done against me. He's gone for it.
He doesn't care. I have no AP in shooting pretty much, so he is just coming at me, bro. With those, one of the units of Warrior Knights. I've got moving from right to left then, so we've got that Warrior Knight unit behind us now. Then we've got another unit chosen with dogs, Warrior Knight, and the second Warrior Knight has his Barbarian in, the Warriors, the dogs, and the chosen. So he put down first, and I kind of deployed thusly. I always deploy my Ancient Dragon last, because I'm like, I don't know where. Do I need him to support, or do I need him to go out and do his own thing? And in this regard, I thought actually chosen might not be a terrible one for him, because there's lots of attacks, but they're hitting me on 4s, they're wounding me on 4s, and then I've got I think it's a 6-up save to it and stuff, and obviously I can potentially have some magic if my dragons get over. And I'm like, well, I go first with the Nova Flare. And I think I've got this. I've got AP4 on my actual dragon. I've got 9 wounds. He's got no shooting to get me first. Surely that's a good thing.
You know that a quarter hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, a quarter of like 30 attacks is
8.
Well, actually 35 attacks.
That's if he all gets in.
Yeah.
Maths. We don't need maths. Anyway.
No. Yeah.
Here we go. The Warriors turn 1.
He's coming
just
for you.
Move up, and it's just aggression. If you want aggression, this is aggression. Literally, I don't think many things apart from his second unit of Warrior Knights.
Yeah,
moved up pretty much everything as they could.
I love that the dogs are just like a spare thought for Tanka.
It doesn't even
build
need
out
them
core with them.
Yeah. So I ponder. I actually, and this I should say as well.
Oh.
I should say this. We didn't actually start deployment till like 1 hour 45 left remaining because we were just chatting. We were just chatting so much. So, and we got to this point, and this is about halfway through the time.
Oh man.
Okay, fair enough. And I was thinking I could back off, but he's got a lot of stuff, and I could chaff and things, or I could go for it and get my unit in his rear. There's no counter charges if I can make them. If I can get them, I'm on the charge. I've got fully all my guys.
Yeah.
I could pussy around at the back, or I could go for it. And I thought, you know what? Let's bloody go for it.
Okay, that's the tanker trap. That is.
And I get in.
Oh, you got in. Oh well, that's a good start.
Yeah. I've obviously got. And again, now I'm thinking, well, what counter charges? What things are okay? So he's only got
I can see one counter charge if you stay there, but sure.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let's go. And this is my remaining movement. Now I decide to not stop the counter charge based on the fact that if I'm still there, it's probably not going well. It's like if I'm still there and thereabouts, even if I'm like 1 and he's just done a lucky hold, I'm probably not going to grind it out against him. I'm not good enough on the grind, so I have to pop through him right now. So I'm like, okay, well, there's no point stopping the Warriors. If the Warriors come in and have to get me, then it keeps them in the middle. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do that. I'll just see how I am like that. And otherwise, I kind of move around to this right side because that's a huge danger on my Queen's Guard. And my Queen's Guard can't move because I need as much shooting as possible. And let's see what I can do. So that's the movement, basically. Everything kind of stays on the right, apart from the Ancient Dragon, who's just moved up.
It looks like you've not even moved him.
Yeah, I've moved up tentatively because I don't want his knights to then get a flank charge in me or anything like that. But yeah, and I don't want the Warriors to have. I think it's past the Warriors charge. Warriors scare me a bit, actually.
Sure.
Over here, I get +1 to hit on these. Oh no! I'm in the Ancient Ruin, so we do the Ancient Ruin, and my mage has Living Steel, and it's number 5. The Avrasi Fortress.
Okay.
So my unit gets +1 combat score.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I get Flaming Swords.
Living Steel is amazing.
Yeah, Living Steel is a great thing. Although it's a good combat.
I mean, my King Chief just got death, but it's bearable.
It's better than death. I'll give you that. It's better than death.
Yeah, on the scale.
Significantly. He stops all the all the other spells, and I get Flaming Swords as my only spell off this phase.
That's cool, though. That's cool.
Yeah, which is good. Give me a bit of a
So that you'll be winning on 2s with that, right?
Yeah, although I do work out I've got the War Banner of Rhymer, which also gives me +1 strength.
Oh, so you didn't need this.
So it helps my horses.
There is that, yes.
Over here, with all my shooting, I believe I kill 1, but it is with the Grey Watchers, so they have -1 to hit.
Oh, okay.
Which actually, if I was gonna do anything, it's not bad.
Yeah. No. So, if you knew you were only doing 1 wound, you would have chosen it to be the Grey Watchers to do it.
Yeah. And crucially, I guess they now don't have a 2nd rank, so that's all combat res. And attacks is still
such a half full guy. Aren't you?
You gotta be when you're this in this shit. You gotta be. So I don't lose any wounds, which is great.
What?
But I don't.
How?
I only do 2. I don't. This is the craziest combat in where just armor prevails. Really.
Clearly.
I do a bunch of hits and wounds. He saves it. But AP2 max on a 1-up armor isn't really that much. So I was hoping to do a few more, I must admit, but it's not enough. And even with holding and stuff, it's not in a good place. And he does counter charge, and
that's the unit he's trying to kill as well.
That's the unit he's trying to kill, and I kind of like it was a big risk.
To the tanker trap. Yeah,
it was a big risk, but worth a go, I thought, considering there's not much else that they can do, to be honest, in this battle report. But charge there. Check gets rid of my chaff as well, and he takes a charge into my Queen's Guard. Of course, I can't stand and shoot. That's the big big nerf. This thing. But it is into the ruins,
About
so I'm
bloody
hoping
time.
that a
Yeah.
few, a few get taken out by the ruins. And as you can see, they do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He
Wow.
loses
That's a
3
lot of
to.
dangerous terrains, isn't it? Because I mean,
It
it's
is.
what
It's
are they
10
six
then
wide? So 12.
I think it's 5 wide.
Or are they five wide? Five
Yeah,
wide. Yeah,
so
sure. So
so it is 10, but does take a 3, which is
Mm,
just is great for the amount of attacks he's not getting
amazing.
back. And obviously go first because I've got spears as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so
with the lethal
all in all,
strike.
yeah, all in all, and he hasn't moved with his chosen. This is how it looks, really.
Cool.
He obviously kills the chaff.
Yeah.
The Lion Reavers didn't really stand a chance, especially with this barb in there. And yeah, it's just carnage over here. Weirdly, I do another wound.
You killed. Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh man, AP
Oh.
zero.
But I'm seriously depleted. I flee and away, and I go
Oh.
through his units, and there's a few more DTs, which you're thinking, oh, I'm still alive.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
I'm
was
not.
thinking that. Oh,
I'm fleeing, and I'm now decimated. With the new rules,
sure.
you just get rid.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, didn't
yeah, sure.
the risk? Obviously, in hindsight, definitely you just need to run away. But
Mhm.
I wanted. There was a slight chance. There was like maybe a 5%, 10% chance, and if I get that, it's a huge thing to the battle. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I
Boys, you got 5% chance of survival, 95% chance of death. Please, can you
yeah.
go over there?
Or you can
Sure.
just run away and survive and go back to your wives.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Helps to have
over
wives.
here, I kill 3 to start off with, which is
Oh, that's
great.
great. Yeah.
He kills 4 with the remaining, and because
Yeah.
of ranks and the BSBs and my extra combat race, I actually smash him in combat.
Oh.
But he is pride, so he does survive and he does stay. And we go on to my turn.
Oh no, you've gone through it with the dragon.
I've gone
Oh
through it
boy.
with the dragon. This is it.
Oh my
So
lord.
the good thing about this is that the warriors are too far away to charge. So
Well, yeah, there
we
is. I
currently
wasn't worried about them.
don't have a charge there. But let's go, Idaho. And so it's up to the chosen. Do they want it? Because I want it.
Idaho and Cleveland at the minute.
I want it. Biatch. Do you want it? And I'm
I
saying
didn't, but I guess
similar
we're here
things.
now. Yeah.
My Grey Watchers go up to second chaff against his unit there in the middle, and my Sea Guard move back as much as possible. They got quick to fire, so it doesn't really matter. But basically go there. My Pew Pew Dragon doesn't care about dogs, although they do have 2 attacks and can be strength 4. So there's a slight thing there. But I decide not to worry about it, and I go up to start the breaths on his chosen. As well, with
you see, that's a situation I wouldn't be that worried about as well. The dogs. Chosen, on the other hand.
Yeah. Well, the chosen are there. They need to start getting pew-pewed. I get Melodis off, which is great.
Good. Yeah.
So there. And I kill 3 with a mixture of shooting and breath weapon stuff. Obviously, they've got 2 attacks, so 6 wounds on them, which is pretty nice. Over here, I breath, and I only plink 1 wound, which is not really what I would want to go up and plink a few more. Just to make myself a little bit more comfortable. But
the back rank isn't really providing the attacks, so
still what they kind of are.
Oh, they are. They are actually, aren't they? Yeah. No, sorry, I forgot that. Yeah.
Over here we have a bit of a stalemate where he does nothing because of favour. I do nothing because I'm just. Well, I'm sure on spears, but I just do nothing. But I go to rank up here to minimise the chosen coming in. Really.
Sure. Yeah.
Over here, he charge, and unfortunately gets in with both. I was tempted to flee, but I was like, well, you know what? I just want to. If I can just stay there and just get him down some, because I do still have spears and it works well. No. Well, yeah. I'll go first, right? Is what I'm thinking. But otherwise, this is his movement. His warriors come up to help me. His chosen don't go in. His chosen don't want it.
What? Well, they don't need to because they got a whole warrior unit.
Yeah. And I think that was it. I think that the other thing was, well, I'll just wait, and your ancient can just stay over here another turn and risk it all. His dogs don't go into my Pew Pew Dragon, but do come around the side, and that is what it is over here. In combat, spears 6/6/6,
Nice.
baby.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
Pew, pew,
lethality
pew, pew,
at its
pew.
best.
And yeah, that's pretty nice. Over here, not so well. I only do 2 wounds to him, and he kills a bunch. And I run, and he runs after me. I run off the board actually, and he only runs 3, which is actually not too shabby for things going on. In my turn, I move up with the dragons to breath weapon. My ancient does go in. Why not? Let's do this. Well, this is what I've done. I've lost my unit, my big unit. I need to get his big unit. And yeah, Queensguard basically moved back to give him as long charge as possible going through the ruins. So we shall see. Over here, the ancient is just showing the ancient going in. Don't worry.
Well, at least it means that if you survive the first turn, you can never flare the second round. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Over here, Pew Pew and Breath Weapon. It does a few more wounds. They become a bit more manageable now. And obviously they'll turn around and won't charge something. So I'm confident I'll get these units in the end, especially with Molten Copper as an availability. I Breath Weapon over here and do lows because they're dogs and they don't like fire.
No.
And over here,
oh,
this is after combat. He actually doesn't do a single wound to me, which is amazing. I run.
I knew you got
him down. I go loads. I go like 11 out of the arc. And yeah, Ancient Dragon finally has a day where he can go home and drink his beer
with his wife,
and kids.
Yeah,
Dragon
and all the Lancer wives.
Yeah, well,
because they need consoling.
I did great.
Yeah.
Over here, we are showing the failed charge of the knights in the middle with the barbarians. So that's pretty good. That buys me some time.
It really does. Because you got a very small corner going on there.
No, it's not good.
Not all of them can fly.
Yeah. The other knights come up this way, and the chosen turn around. The war dogs as well, both of which come up to just basically try and corner me in. The warriors stay on the hill to keep my ancient dragon from doing anything silly. At this point in time, it's a little bit unwieldy, so I can't just fly back out of the way because of it doesn't have light troops. So yeah, we are. It's basically done its job, but I'm very happy. 600 points of chosen, the secondary or my secondary, and he's alive, which is so far a rarity.
And in theory, the warriors getting onto that hill checks off the plundering for Tanka, right?
Arguably yes.
So I think it's any unit can plunder the terrain piece. It doesn't have to be because the most expensive scoring was your secondary, whereas the primary was for any scoring unit to plunder the terrain piece not nominated. So I think that covers Tanka getting the hill. You'd already got the ruins because you were in the ruins your turn 3 with the Queensguard.
Yeah.
So I think you just both won the primary. So you drew it, and it was never discussed.
Yeah, that's probably it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. See at the end score. I can't remember. So on to my turn, and not a lot happens apart from my dragons get out at a dodge and start getting a good position to breath away. Yes, exactly. My chariot comes up. Basically, just to see what's going to happen.
Oh, the mage, the wizard's taking one for the team.
And the mage is like, you know what, lads or lasses, I'll take this. I'll take this. Yeah. Oh. So he's up there doing his stuff, basically buying me some time. That's what I'm doing. Molten Copper goes off here. Very nice. Kills 3.
3, of course, it kills 3.
It's lovely. Lovely. I also get Stars Align off, which is great for not only this, but in case something comes in to me as well. In terms of breath attacks, I get 6 dogs and 2 chosen, which I'm very, very happy with. At that point, chosen are definitely becoming manageable now. Although still 6 attacks at strength 6.
Nearly,
so
nearly
yeah,
manageable. Not
nearly.
manageable. Nearly,
Yeah.
nearly. Two
On
more
his
breath
turn,
weapons.
he takes the barbarian out on his own, and I'm
Uh,
secretly very happy about that. But I will tell you why later. The other 2 units go for my Queen's Guard to try and finish him off. I've just got a BSB in there, but the BSB's not that much, not killy or anything like that. It's just got the bow. Obviously, I can't stand and shoot, but I do have the Lion Chariot there as a bit of a helping hand, and obviously the dragons. Everyone gets in, and again, secretly trying to keep my cool about why I'm so happy about this.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Yeah.
And this is is just showing what's happened elsewhere. The knights just move over slightly. The dogs chaff my Lion Chariot, and that is the rest of the movement. The warriors come back again just to give it, allow their sort of line of sight to stop me really doing anything.
Yeah, the dragon's just feasting on all the Tanka's dead.
He is. That's all dead. All dead over there. Over here, and spears come good. And this is probably why Tanka is...
yeah, I just missed
raging.
the trick, didn't I? Like, in between the battle with Paul and the battle with you, Tanka had spear problems. And I just didn't give him the spear problems. So that's my... That's
so, I mean,
my bad.
I go all first. So he does do a wound to my BSB and a wound to the Queen's Guard. But I've already done 3 and killed off the unit and 2 to the Chosen. So absolutely flying here. He kills my mage, obviously, but is out in the open. On my turn, I take the chariot into the dogs, line up my Queen's Guard, and move my dragons in for breathage. Obviously, I'm just searching for wands, but that is a lot of attacks going up against his lord. And of course, I've also got magic as well and some shooting. So I'm hoping just to punk him, to be honest. This is just showing. This isn't the dragon alone. It's just showing that this is a dead pile, so not to worry about all of that. And this is the last picture you'll see of the ancient dragon, just happy, as you say, feasting on some chosen.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Over here, I get a molten copper off onto his lord, and I'm very happy about that because he lets flaming swords go, and I just dice him with molten copper, but I only do 1 wound. And
what, including shooting?
Including shooting and breath weapons. Well, this year my other shooting and breath weapons.
Yeah.
I think I do 1 with molten and 1 with the rest, and I'm like, so good. But it means he's alive. He goes into that unit. As you can see, there's a tiny little white ring there that signifies he's back in there. He decides not to go into my Queen's Guard because he is so scared of the spears and what's going to come. And obviously, I guess as well, counter charges as well. Because if he goes in and doesn't kill me, I've got flaming swords off, which is great. I've got the spears. He's just too scared of it all. He wants somewhere to hide his lord. Goes there. And that is the end of turn 6 movement. I go, and this is absolutely everything I've got.
Wow.
Highborn's turn 6. Go and do a load of wounds, but of course he has 3 left out of 10.
That's pretty good going,
which means
though.
I get 0 points, which is so annoying. But it is what it is.
It's a bonus at that stage, though, surely.
Absolute bonus, yeah. I'm definitely not.
Well, when you were cornered in, it looked like you were properly cornered in, and all of those units survived, apart from the mage. But yeah.
Absolutely. I'm very, very... the point he starts moving away, I'm very happy that this is happening.
Yeah.
And just 1 model away from getting some points there as well. Very happy. And that is the end of my battle with Tanka. Overall, very, very happy with how it went. Lancers were a risk too much. And in the grand scheme of things, they went in, did a wound, a couple of wounds, and then died.
But did they delay Tanka's army?
Did they?
Converging on your corner? Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah,
I think they did.
So it was worth the secondary. It ends up being a 10-10 because of the objective. Now,
did you not get the ruins with your
perhaps
scoring?
it wasn't the ruins. Perhaps it was the field. or something.
Yeah, although you did reform with your Queen's Guard to be into bus formation, so maybe that took you out of the ruins.
Yeah.
In which case you
But
couldn't afford to
either
move
way,
into later on.
it was all legit. I just can't remember it.
No,
so
but Tanka obviously
quick.
won it because the points were there. Yeah,
but I smashed him on points really. But the objective wise went to Tanka, and that we both got the secondary as well because we both got the things, which is great. And that was it. A 10 nice 10-10. Oh, my closest I've been to beating Tanka. The closest. He snatched a draw from me in the midst of defeat. So well done to Tanka. And it was a really good game. I feel like everything came good, really. The spears really... I guess with Warriors in this list, his only weakness is the amount of wounds he has, right?
Yes, low HP count. Yeah.
Yeah. And so every single 6 he sees on that lethal strike is quite crucial, and I just rolled a decent amount. I'm not even sure it was massively over, but because of how many it was and when it was, I guess it really helped.
That army's definitely less than 100 HP all combined, isn't it? It's probably less than 80, I don't know, but it's because the Chosen are giving out 20 HP each. But really cool,
yeah.
Well
but there you are. That was us both versus Tanka. And
I wimped out and just took 5. But
and I wimped
out. Maybe well, if my Raptor riders had been worth as much as the Lancers, maybe I would have risked throwing them forward into the middle of it. But unfortunately, they were like 3,000 points. So.
Yeah, exactly. But all good fun. Tanka's already a nice opponent to play. Anyway.
Oh, always.
Despite slowly beating you down most times.
Definitely.
He's still pretty cool to me.
So
we move on.
Previous week we were asked what we think about the Warriors. Kenneth asked us the question, what do we think about Warriors in 3.0? I tend to find that they're not that much different in this new rule set, really. They still just try to smash you up, really.
Yeah.
I haven't really had much thought beyond that. I mean, obviously, the hot fixes that come in 3.0 will change that slightly.
Yeah, the twos
spears
as well.
Spears are not as much of a problem now, in theory. They're still.
Yeah, I'm interested. Obviously, wiping out your armor on 6s is great, but it is like swingy. This now, is it AP3 always against Swift Rise?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's pretty brutal.
It is, yeah.
So
because the reason why I didn't get through armor wasn't because he was rolling 5s and 6s on armor saves. It was because he was just rolling 3 ups. 2 ups rather. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah,
but lots to come. Obviously, this is all based on like I said, 2 hot fixes ago. But we are quickly coming to the end of this tournament. So we'll be.
And you're sitting all right points wise, aren't you? Middle-ish or
yes, slightly above. So I think I was 34 for day 1. So maybe a bit higher or something. But so I'm looking at a loss would get me to 50, and I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah. Whereas I've had a little bit of a rough one, but day 2 usually I do very well.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
And you've got your full day 2 to come.
I've got my full day 2 to come.
And we start on game 4 for you.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I just remember what that one is. Oh boy. Okay. Lots of blundering terrain to come.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But until then, like, share, subscribe, hit us up on all the social medias and the forum. Go check the forum out. If you're that way inclined, Patreon as well. We have this and Old World going on, and many ways in which you can get involved. So hit them up. But until then, see you later.